Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin, and Doug, big question for you. If you could switch bodies with someone, Freaky Friday style, who would it be and why?
I feel like it has to be a female because I just want to know what that experience is like. Just to be a woman for a day or whatever. I mean, it doesn't say how long. There's no time limit on this.
This
if
question
they say Freaky
did not
Friday
come with
style, I mean
limit.
that has some sort of time constraint to it, I assume.
Right. Let's say a day. Let's put it 24 hours.
24 hours?
We'll put a time box on this. 24 hours.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be great to swap bodies with Jill for a day, just so like we could see what it's like.
Oh, interesting. You'd go super in-house.
Yeah, it'd be great just to.
But
I
no
feel
pun
like our
intended,
relationship would only get better because I'd be like, I understand you a little bit better now. I walked in your shoes for a whole day, and I get it.
Quite literally,
you know?
yeah.
Like,
now, how do you think she'd feel about jumping into your body for a day?
she'd be like, I can go walking at 5 a.m. and not be afraid. Oh boy! I realize the privilege I have when I walk.
Oh, yeah.
In the dark. She told me the other day. She goes, most of the time when you go out walking, she goes, I never even consider that an option for me. She goes, I would never walk when you walk. I'm like, yeah, I don't even think about it. I put in my headphones and everything. I'm like, let's listen to a podcast and walk in the dark.
Do.
Yeah,
Doug's
like,
just strolling down
nothing
the street.
bad ever happens to me. You know, just
right. I understand where you're coming from with that, and I understand the thought process behind and I think that's a wonderful answer. I don't know if I would have the strength to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that to live the female experience, I think is it takes a whole different level of strength, and I would be genuinely, just even hearing stories about it, I would be genuinely terrified to even try that as an experiment. Like it seems overwhelming to me, and I like 100% admit and understand what's going on. Like, it is overwhelming for that thought. I don't know if I could do it. Even for 24 hours.
I'm curious. I want to understand it. No, I'm not be like, yeah, I'll permanently switch over that.
No, yeah.
I'm like, I want to know.
Curiosity might get the cat in this one because I could be convinced to do it. I feel like that would be way overwhelming.
Also, it'd be really cool to be like, what's it like to be 5'2", you know? Like,
or quite the opposite. I was thinking like Chris Hemsworth. I'm like, what would it feel like to just be like fucking ripped?
Yeah. Except
I'll never know it.
You find him when he's between projects and he's kind of let himself go. And you're like, come on, man.
Oh, damn it.
I want to be Thor already, you know? Like, come on.
He got cast in something and he's going to go real method and put on 200 pounds. And you're just like, oh, fuck.
He's like, they want me as the Blob now in like the X-Men movies. It's like, fuck. God
all right. That's on me. I didn't choose right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing. If you're living in their body, do you get to impact their life? Like, is it like you're living in their body and like, are you going through the day?
It's like, whose life do you want to ruin for a day, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could really get creative with this and be like, okay, let's fix some political shit in this country. Although I don't know if I want to be in that body.
Also, if you're entering their body, do you kind of like gain access to their thoughts, like to where they are up to that point? You know, do you inherit like all their experiences and their feelings and understand, but also have your consciousness as well? You know, because
if you jumped into someone's body and like you just some random person came up and they're like, "Hey, so and so," and you're like, "Fuck, I don't know this person."
Right?
Obviously, the person whose body I'm in knows this person, but I don't.
Right. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's probably the whole point of like Freaky Friday, right? Is like random people are like,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
Was it like a 15-year-old has to be in like a 35-year-old's body or whatever? And
whatever it was, yeah. Like she had to go to her mom's.
It's probably got to be older than that, than 35, because the math on that might get a little weird. But
it was Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, whatever that was. They're doing a Freaky Friday 2, apparently.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, so
and sticking with the tradition of like, hey, how many years has it been since the last one? 20? Let's do a sequel. You know.
Actually, when did the first? Now you got me curious.
Because there was Freaky Friday, then I feel like there was a remake of it. And then
Freaky Friday was it was based on a 1972 novel. And it was 2003. Freaky Friday is the second remake of the same story.
Right.
So it's been done. It's been done a few times, but this one was 03. So again, to your point, 21 years later, do we're asking for this? Okay,
let's fucking go. Yeah, let's fucking go. I imagine to some degree, I would like to say with those circumstances, like you occupy someone's body, you get their memories, all their thoughts up to that point. And then, but you also have your conscious, so you're able to be like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Frank?"
So you can just tap into whatever you need. Man, that would be some.
That would talk about a pure empathy sort of thing to be like, I need to know what's going on in this person's brain. I need to understand. You get it once a year. It's kind of like you get one free punch every year. You get one free body swap every year. One free body swap.
So everyone, do you imagine the fucking chaos? Does the other person know that you're going to body swap? Or like, if everyone gets one free body swap, do you have to like sync up with the other person? Do you have to like clear it? Or is it just like, I'm going to choose today. And then you and I, all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, why am I in Justin's body? God damn it. He did it again.
Sounds like we got ourselves the makings for a short story or some sort of story where it's like, in the the way that it's planned out is there's authorizations that take place, right? You get notified a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. It's like, you have been chosen to be body swapped by, and it's like, it tells you who it is.
It's like when you make a collect call, you've got to say your name. Yeah.
Right. This will proceed in 24 hours. So you're like, shit, someone's body swapping with me. And you're like preparing for it. But the character we follow gets swapped and they don't even know that it happened. All of a sudden they wake up. It was an illegal one. And all of a sudden we've got a thriller situation on our hand. What just happened? I'm in someone else's body. I don't know who they are. Because typically you're swapped with people that you know.
Right.
Because it has to go through a whole process because you can reject it. You can be like, nah, I don't want to do that. They're like, cool, and whatever.
Someone hacked the system.
And maybe
people are after. So people start coming after you and you're like, shit, whose body did I swap? And why are they coming after this person? And so you got to survive now. Right. To figure out why.
And you get swapped and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God. And we're playing by the rules of like, you don't necessarily know. Or maybe you do, I don't know. But like, they're like, I don't know who this person is. Why do I have their memories? But their memories and stuff don't make sense. And you're like, what is happening? What's going on? What sort of shadow play is happening here? And you just wait, you swap in, you just have a huge erection and you don't know why. You're like, oh my God. You're looking around being like, okay, I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. But most importantly, what made me hard? Because this might be a really weird day.
Right. Or you wake up, you're in an alleyway completely naked with a full-on erection. You're like, uh-oh, I'm in public.
You're like, not again.
Why? What was happening right before I got here?
Not again.
Not again.
I can't do this again.
Not again.
I already lived this. I don't need to live it in someone else's body. I hated it the first time.
It's like a nightmare come to life where you wake up. You're like the nightmares where you're in class and you're naked, and you have to go answer something on the board. But it's just a body swap and you're actually going through it. That sucks.
You're like, I already did this 20 years ago. I don't want to do it again.
What if it was body swapping into your older or younger self?
That would be fun. That's a pure fantasy of being like, boy, I would love to like take my conscious swap into 16, 17-year-old self and just be like, and be like, hey man, because that would just be pure fun for me because everyone's like, oh my God, homecoming's coming. And I'd be like, even back then I was like, homecoming's dumb, but as like 41-year-old Doug in 17-year-old Doug's body, I'd be like, oh boy, are we going to have some fun today? Because none of this matters. Boy, doesn't it matter.
We're going to burn some bridges.
Yeah, right. I get home and see my parents. I was like, hey, look who it is. Parents of the century right here. Who did you psychologically torture today, Chris? Hey, John, still ignoring your family? What are you going to do? Send me to my room? Oh,
with
no.
All the information that you have, being able to go back in and call out specific bullshit lies, very specific lies that you know now. And just to be able to go back then and call it out and just watch their faces melt off.
Chris, why'd you kill our dogs? Why'd you kill two, but you let one live?
Christ.
Explain it to me. Explain it to me. And no, we're not going to do this. This conversation's over. That's it. No. Why'd you pick Biscuit and Louie, but you let Dolly live? What is it? Is it because they had dicks? Or is it just, what is it? Also, you're a terrible pet owner. They lived with us for years. We moved to a new house and you locked them in the basement. They didn't know what was going on. Of course they piss and shit everywhere. They don't understand where they are. You don't let them up in the house. You're like, they're doing it out of spite. They're dogs. They don't know how to spite you with their poop. Are you crazy?
Are you okay right now, Doug?
I'm great.
Are you okay right now? I feel like you're going through something right now.
No.
I feel like you're.
These are just questions. These are just questions I've had for a long time.
I can tell.
Long time.
That's very evident.
It doesn't make sense to me if you move to a place, you're like, man, these dogs are shitting in the basement. Not like she can go through and like taste test and be like, that's Biscuits. That son of a bitch. There's 3 dogs down in an unfinished basement. They're all pissed and shitting everywhere. But she's like, they're doing it out of spite. You go to football practice in the morning, you come back, all of a sudden, instead of having 3 dogs, you have 1 dog. It's like, well, I would think that they would all go.
That's fucked up.
Why 2 and just, but you leave? What is it? What is it about that? Like, and by the way, we have all these dogs because you took them in, Chris. You took them in. You found them and took them in. It's on you. And we did a terrible job raising dogs. We didn't know how to do it. And now you're like, fucking take them out. She didn't do that, but she's like, put them down.
Well,
I would love to have that conversation.
You were at football practice.
Yeah. She specifically did it when we weren't there. You know.
So you don't know
and
how.
Of course, my dad, my John, of course, is just like, had nothing to say about it. He's just like, nope. Mom said we had to do it. I'm like, cool. Good work, John. Way to. You know what? Just head back to work. I'm sure that's more important. Why don't you go back and coach your team? Those kids need you more than we do.
Jesus Christ. I really feel like I should be charging by the hour right now.
Oh,
like,
no.
So tell me,
this is pure
how did it make you feel,
This
Doug?
is why the family that matters is the family that you choose and the family that you make. The family that, because you just popped out of someone's vagina doesn't mean shit. If they're a shitty person, fuck them. Find the cool people in your life that, that matter to you, and those are your family. Treat them like family because that's what fucking matters. I stand by it.
Stuff is stupid. Stuff is dumb. Doug
Fuck
hates
you,
stuff.
Mom.
Doug hates his family.
Yeah. So. Yeah, do you want to have more thoughts and discussions about that? Click the link in the description down below. Join our Discord. I'll create a special channel called Family Sucks, and you can join there and tell us, hey, what's going on with your family? Do you need some help? You need to chat it out? Because we got a great supportive community. You know what? This lovely community of Mind Gappers knows my daughter better than my family does. Natalie loves the Mind Gap community and has a stronger connection with them than my family. So you all are my family. And, Ohana means family, y'all.
Not in the weird corporate way, like where it's like, hey, we're all
Yeah,
family here.
hey.
Like in the real friend
Not in
way.
the Olive Garden when you're here, we're family kind of situation. But it's like truly like we're great. It's a great group of people, and I'm thrilled to know all of you. Today, literally at dinner, Natalie goes, I miss Jared. I'm like,
Aw.
yeah, that's true. She fucking loves these guys. I'm like, I love it. I love that this is who she knows. So come be a part of the Mind Gap family. YouTube.com/Mind Gap Podcast. Hit the link in the description. Find us on our Discord. Find our Patreon. Find our merch at Mind Gap, not Mind Gap, at Redbubble. And while you're there at YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment. Who would you body swap with? How's your family doing? Do you like them? Do you not? You looking forward to the holidays? Because guess what? When you tell your family to fuck off, you can have the holidays any way you want. It's true. You get to do it your way. Just like the Burger King says.
Just like Burger King.
Praise be. Yes. Praise be. Whew. Man, I feel good. I feel warmed up. What a great icebreaker.
It was an icebreaker. Also, you just purged a lot, man. I feel like you took an emotional dump, and you're just like, I'm clean now. I'm ready to. I'm ready to consume more.
I'm having fun ranting and raving because I'm like, oh, this is a topic I can rant and rave on. But I'm like, it may not sound like it. I'm at peace with all of it. To me, it's more funny to go and talk about this stuff now because it's absolutely absurd. And the idea of that, like my 17-year-old brain's like, I don't really understand what's happening right now. So I'm kind of just like going to keep on moving. As a 41-year-old person, I'm like, that's fucked up. That's really fucked up that I went to football practice, 3 dogs, came back, there was
home.
only 1. I still
Right.
to this day, that math is weird to me. And it's funny to be like, why? So I have more fun just asking the why question and having a blast with it. So yeah, you know who else is having a blast, Justin?
Who's that, Doug?
It's the California Piss Bandit.
He knows how to have a good time.
He knows how to. Now listen, I don't want to be. Hey, maybe it could be a she.
It's true. We don't know.
Could be a she.
This person knows how to have a good time.
This person knows how to have a good time. I would say for the sake of ease, probably be easier for it to be a man, but who knows? Maybe they had there's technology these days. There's AI these days, man. And if AI lives here, then anyone can piss in anything. You know what I'm saying?
Are you saying it's AI piss?
That's an equation we can solve for, you know?
Yeah. Give it to the tech bros. They'll figure it out.
If X equals AI, who pisses in the water bottles?
If X equals AI, how do you piss?
How do you piss?
On the next mind gap.
Ask ChatGPT that math question. So if you aren't aware, which I wasn't until recently.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a mysterious person known as the Piss Bandit who's been causing a stir in Pasadena, California for the past 6 years. I just read that it's been 6 years. I thought it was just like, oh yeah, last few weeks. Someone's been being a real nuisance. This has been 6 years, man. That's awesome.
Wait, you didn't, when we were, you didn't realize that till just now?
No, I just saw, hey,
That's
I was
awesome.
skimming. I'm like, cool, Piss Bandit, Pasadena. What do they do? I didn't realize it's been for 6 years. That's super cool. I'm more into this now than I have ever been.
Oh, absolutely. This is a really fun fucking story. I'm Team Piss Bandit, by the way. Spoiler alert, I am Team Piss Bandit.
Let's go. So a person comes out at night with a mask and latex gloves, and they regularly leave bottles of urine in an influential neighborhood, carefully arranging them on a utility box before vanishing into the night, as reported by the New York Post. What's the New York Post doing in Pasadena, Justin? Huh?
Reporting on the Piss Bandit. That's what they're doing.
How about they worry about their own piss bandits in their own backyards? Huh? New York Post,
Look,
mind your own fucking piss business, okay?
Everyone knows that New York has no problem with anyone publicly urinating or defecating, okay? So they have to go across the country to cover stories like this.
Look at them. They're mad that someone's pissed in bottles. So these bottles include soda bottles, juice cartons. That one to me is wild. Gallon jugs.
Right?
And they're accompanied by crude drawings and notes like human urine and HIV positive. That is aggressive.
It's very aggressive. I also want to know: are we filling up these gallons?
Dude,
Is this just like a normal amount of piss in a gallon container, or have we filled up a gallon of urine and we're just leaving that around? There's questions I have about this.
Gallon jugs are filled with yellow liquid. So, I mean, that's
Good
that
on this
is a
person.
statement. That is a statement. How many days do you think it'd take you to fill up a gallon jug?
A gallon jug?
Piss? Yeah.
I think I could do it in a day.
A day?
I hydrate.
Whoa, I know you're hydrating, but I'm going to call bullshit on that one, man. A gallon?
Is there a way that we can solve this without me actually having to do this?
I don't think so. I think.
All right.
I just got the chat just said you got to do it. Prove it. Picture it
Is
didn't
that what
happen.
the chat
No,
said?
live
Okay.
video or it didn't happen.
But said that, okay. Subscribe to our Patreon. Do we have that still? Is that still up? Subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah.
If you want to see the unedited version of this experiment.
A day. You think you piss a gallon of water a day? As he drinks from his Batman mug, trying to hydrate.
20 ounces? I don't know. I think, I don't know. Yeah, I would assume. You don't think you piss a gallon a day?
No way.
No?
There's no way
Okay.
I'd piss a gallon in a day.
How much do you think you piss then?
I don't know. Not that much.
Are you asking Google right now?
How
much is
much?
a normal person? By the way, I did ask ChatGPT, if X equals AI, then how do you piss? And it laughed at that. He said, ha ha ha, interesting question. So no help there.
I'm trying to see how much does a
Does
human
the average...
person pee in a day. 800 to 2,000 milliliters a day. That doesn't sound like a gallon to me.
So 1 to 1.5 liters. This is based on a normal fluid intake of about 2 liters per day. Well, wait a second. So how many liters are in a gallon?
1 gallon is
3 liters.
just under 3,800 milliliters. So,
Right. So
maybe half a gallon.
1 to 1.5. So we're saying half a gallon. But here's the thing. I think with
Here's the thing, Doug. I just pissed in a gallon of milk today. Like I filled it to the top. So like,
and this is the average person, the average adult, right?
oh, you think you're above average? You're like, oh, I'm a gallon a day pisser. That's for sure.
Doug, I have to be above average in something in my life. Okay, I
God
have
damn
to
it!
excel.
It's gonna
at
be
something.
with how much I pee every fucking day.
I cannot just be a normal human in every way, shape, and form.
Do you really?
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna say no, man. I don't think you're.
An excessive volume of urination for adult is more than 2.5 liters of urine per day. So I guess okay.
So
I
if
guess
that's
a gallon
excessive,
is too much.
If that's half a gallon.
All right, fine. No, half a gallon is 1.5 liters.
Justin.
Because a gallon is 3.7 liters.
Okay, so my whole life we just rounded up and said it was 4 liters to a gallon. Is that what we're doing?
That's according
My math
to this.
class was a lie.
Yeah, pretty much.
I thought it was 4 liters to a gallon.
I don't know.
Today's been a hard day.
Is 4 liters equal 1 gallon? I love this. Still, the U.S. gallon measurement is still very much an easy way to figure out liters. Is a quart is a little less than a liter, and 4 liters is a little more than 1 gallon. To be exact, how did we get? Where are we right now?
To be exact, there's nothing exact about the imperial system of measurement.
Okay.
So anyway,
where we're at currently, there's a piss bandit running around California, and Justin is going to do an experiment tomorrow.
Justin's going to load up tonight, hold it all in through the night, and start heavy tomorrow.
And we're talking midnight to midnight, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah,
okay,
24
cool.
hours,
Just
right?
double checking. Yep.
I mean, that's 24 hours. Am I right?
Beth, don't touch these things that are laying around the house.
Beth.
Any containers?
Beth, I dumped out the milk. Need you to get a new gallon of milk first thing tomorrow.
I need this.
I just bought it today. Doesn't matter. This is really important.
It's sitting in multiple glasses in the fridge. They're all open. Drink them quick.
What's wild is like, I actually pissed 8 cartons of eggs. I just fill up the cartons.
Is it
piss.
viscous?
Just piss in the egg cartons in the little holes where they hold the eggs, and I fill them up to the brim and be like, I did 8 egg cartons today. Like, what?
Well, how many is a normal amount of egg cartons to pee a day? Right.
That's a piss bandit. If you're listening, fill up some egg cartons.
I want to see you get creative with
At
these.
least it's not bottles, and they're like, oh my god, there's piss in the egg cartons.
Oh, it's disintegrating. It's everywhere now.
Oh my god, this is terrible. All right, back on point here. So
Yes.
the bandit strikes multiple times a week. All right, they leave behind fresh bottles each morning that disappear by nightfall, which means someone's collecting them.
Right.
That's where I go to. Someone's obviously hanging on to these. They're collecting.
I think the best thing about this is how it's written, because it is written
Yes.
written like the beginning of a spy, like a thriller, like a novel.
The bandit sometimes strikes multiple times a week, leaving behind fresh bottles each morning that disappear by nightfall. It sounds like there's a new body that disappears by nightfall.
You have until nightfall to solve this, or else the piss bottles disappear.
That's right. And then we start over fresh tomorrow.
And then you got to start over. Yep, everything resets. Shit.
Man, I feel like this guy was inspired by The Imitation Game, starring Benedict Cumberbatch as Alan Turing. Great movie. So
Thus far, I feel
City-
like we've gotten 2 decent short stories out of this podcast. So
I tell you what, man, we've got
let's keep
some
rolling.
2 East 8th. Hold on to your pants,
butts.
because we're gonna making some great stuff. Get Drew on the line. Tell him to listen to this episode. So the city tried to stop the bandit by adding a pointed metal cover to the utility box. I can't imagine how that would stop, other than like he just can't set stuff on it. But
that's the part where I kind of got lost in this whole thing. Like,
so I guess it's normally
Is it-
flat.
and is
And
it
like,
the
we're going to
same
make it a
utility
pyramid
box?
so that you can't set stuff on it,
yeah. Is it the same utility box? Because it says carefully arrange them on a utility box before vanishing into the night.
Well, this
So-
also says they pointed metal cover to the utility box, so there must be a specific one.
I think it's just we're dealing with like one utility
Yeah.
box. They always strike.
Apparently, the Piss Bandit just removed the pointed cover and then continued. And this says his antics. So they start out by somebody calling them they, but they're like, this is totally a dude.
They're
you know?
they're making assumptions.
Listen,
but yeah.
I would be shocked if this was a woman. So apparently, there's a filmmaker and someone else who lives in the neighborhood who've been investigating this, and they've amassed over 600,000 views on TikTok as they investigate the Piss Bandit.
I love this. This is enough to make me want to join TikTok just to follow this.
Right. So apparently, these two guys view him as a bandit, a vigilante artist akin to Robin Hood. Many neighbors view him as a nuisance.
I want to know how is he like Robin Hood? He's just saying fuck you to the rich. Like is he giving anything back?
He's just what? I mean, Robin Hood was a vigilante, I guess, but
Right.
I mean, what's he giving back to the people? Not much,
In the way that Robin Hood was really into water play.
I guess, Yeah. Apparently, a local expressed disgust, threatened, saying if the bandit, if I catch you leaving your piss here, I'll make you drink every last drop.
So, all right, we've now established a villain for the story, or an arch rival for the story.
Right. And so despite the attention, the bandit remains elusive. He ignored any attempts to communicate. He even stealing their cameras. That's
I
wild.
love that. So again, they must have had cameras set up pointing at this one utility box, and then the bandit caught wind of this and stole the cameras and then set the piss on there.
I love how they said sometimes you just have to let an artist pee, I love it. His dedication to his craft is what intrigued us. And we wanted to know why, but we realized he doesn't want to tell us why. Sometimes you just have to let an artist pee.
So is this considered, would this be performance art, Doug? Is this modern performance art?
No. Don't even get me started on what. Welcome to the new segment, What is Art? Closely related to what is a sport. Here we go. No, I don't see this as art. I don't find anything artistic about peeing in a bottle and leaving it to annoy people.
I can't.
If that's
get
the case,
over
the
fact-
man in the street interviews that just annoy people, or the pranks that people pull on people, that is considered art as well, which I'm sure to some people it is. They'd be like, that's totally art. I'm like, I disagree, but here we are,
Well, that's why art is subjective, Douglas.
That's right. Yeah. Some people are wrong, but yeah, it's subjective,
Now,
whoever this person is,
this has been around for 6 years, though.
that blows my mind.
This person has been doing this for 6 fucking years. That's dedication. And
That
I
is
respect,
dedication.
if nothing else, that puts me on Team Piss Bandit because I'm like, this person is committing to the bit in a different way, in a different level.
Yeah. And because people are pissed off about it. It just fuels the fire. It burns. It makes their
absolutely.
passion burn even more.
Well, and it's presumably people have caught glimpses of this person because this
Had to
person
have.
comes out at night donned with a mask and latex gloves. The only way you know that is if you've seen this person. So
Right.
I want to know, has someone seen them and like chased after? And then there's this giant parkour sequence where this piss bandit is just like leaping over like fences and scaling like the sides of walls and then
Someone
you
chases
look
him.
up and they're standing at the top of the building with just like a stream of piss kind of coming out. And just
They're chasing. One guy just goes after him. They're jumping over fences and stuff, and they jump over one, and they fall and they break their knee, and they pull out their gun and they aim it at him. And as they're running away, they look back at him and they lock eyes. And the guy that's hurt just goes, ah! Just empties his clip up into the air, as Patrick Swayze gets away, Yeah.
Do you think he carries a utility belt like a little
Full of piss?
like piss bombs? Yeah.
It's just
Like, just
piss
in case?
It's just raw piss in there. There's no casing or whatever. It just drips with piss all the time.
It's just it's like when we run a marathon, you've got the water belt on,
Yeah.
so you can have your water with you and your sports drink. It's just that, but all around it is just bottles of piss.
Yeah, just bottles of piss. Yeah. A part of me is like, how hard is it to catch this guy? But also, I'm sure some people are like, who gives a shit? Like, this is annoying, but like,
What they're leaving piss on a utility box.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just like leaving up there and then people get rid of it. Is that annoying? Absolutely. If that was happening in my neighborhood, I'd probably be like, what the fuck, man? What's going on?
For 6 fucking years, yes.
I'd be like, well, there's the piss. I mean, I would be lying if I said I wouldn't get annoyed by that. If it's just like every day I'm walking by or whatever, Natalie's out with her friends, and it's just like, hey, don't go over by the piss utility box. The Piss Bandit's been there.
Stay away from the piss box. Yeah.
Stay away from the piss bottles. But that'd be annoying. But I don't know. There's something about it that I find hilarious because it's not happening to me or my neighborhood. But
1,000,000%. Again, I'm super on Team Piss Bandit, and I hope this continues. And I wouldn't mind seeing it ratcheted up in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how you would ratchet this up, but I would definitely.
I think it only escalates to a bad place because then it probably goes to poop.
Well, we don't have to change what substance we're using.
I mean, if we're talking about escalation,
maybe a second utility box.
Oh, we're gonna get more pee.
I'm just saying, maybe.
So if you
we're
gonna be a vigilante to annoy people,
sure,
what would you do?
That is a really good question.
Or have you done this in like a minor capacity? Obviously not something for 6 years, but have you done stuff to be like, I'm gonna annoy the shit out of this person to get justice?
I was thinking on that. I can't remember anything that I have done on a consistent basis to annoy someone. I annoy people all the time. I know I do, but I have nothing that is like premeditated and purposeful. I feel like one of when I was younger, I thought the funniest prank was putting Vaseline on someone's doorknob. So
that's just weird.
If we're talking about
you start freaking out because you don't know what it is.
Exactly, that's exactly it. Yeah, and you can't. Good luck like getting a grip on it to open the door. Like it's just, and Vaseline doesn't. It's oily, so you got to rub it off, and you really got to work to get that doorknob clean. So I think that would just.
You're like, it won't come off.
That's exactly it, right? So I would say like if I was just looking to be kind of in the vein of Piss Bandit and just annoy the piss out of people, I feel like I could be the Vaseline bandit.
Mm-hmm.
And just Vaseline people's their doorknobs, their car doors, their name it. Maybe I just smear Vaseline on their windows at night.
There you go. Have fun. Turn on the windshield wipers.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's awful.
Or that's the thing. You don't Vaseline the windows. You just put a little bit of Vaseline on the actual blade of the windshield wiper, so that as it's raining, when they do that,
and the thing is, like, we don't know when it's going to rain.
Streaky.
It could be a week. It could be several days, and they turn it on, and then it's like. You're like, oh, what the?
No.
No.
What about you? What would yours be?
I was, when I think about that, I watched a great video today of a guy who puts really obscene Halloween decorations out on his lawn in reaction to people. Like he did like the human centipede with skeletons.
That's amazing.
And he had a skeleton dressed in like a nightgown holding a sign, and it was like a printed out quote from someone who was like this on his video about how it's inappropriate for him to be doing this. So someone commented on a video like, I can't believe you're doing this. This is so inappropriate. He printed that out, put it on the sign with the skeleton in a nightgown holding it up, watching the human centipede like happen in the front lawn.
That's a beautiful troll right there.
Which I'm like, that's great. I would love to find something to do with like holiday decorations that would just be like sarcastic towards everything else that's going on. Like one of my favorite political signs is Wu-Tang Clan, ain't nothing to fuck with, like as like a political sign out in the front yard.
Presidents come and go, but Wu-Tang is forever.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love shit like that. So I would love to find like people hang up like flags and stuff. I'd love to find like a really ridiculous flag that just makes fun of everybody.
Sure,
it's absurd or weird or like an inside joke. Something like that would be fun. That would probably inspire me to decorate. If that were the case, because I typically don't like doing it.
That would be the one that would get it would finally get you to go Clark Griswold on your house for the holidays.
Yeah, it'd be fun to find a way just to annoy people that way.
So you would keep it localized inside of your property.
I think so. Yeah,
you wouldn't go out like the Piss Bandit here or the Vaseline.
I just feel like that's I'm lawful good. Like that would be really. I think that'd be really. Also, I'm also not so Ninja Doug. Like people are going to notice me. I'm 6'3", 250. I'm going to get spotted. Like
that's fair.
People are going to see me. Like there's no hiding from people. So
you are lawful good. I definitely like a little bit of chaos. I'm typically like chaotic. I'd say chaotic good, maybe dipping into chaotic neutral. Yeah, but I like a little bit of chaos in the world.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I can look at that and be like, that's funny. You know,
Right.
like people were writing on that guy's comments who was doing the Halloween decorations. We were like, you know, as a parent, this would really bother me to walk by this. Or someone's like, I'm glad I don't have trashy neighbors like you. I wrote, as a parent, 2 thumbs up. Like,
You wrote that?
yeah,
That's awesome.
as a parent, 2 thumbs up. This would make me laugh every day I walked by it.
That's exactly right.
Because it's funny. Because it goes back to, what am I going to tell my kids? It's from a movie. You don't get it. Well, watch it when you're older, or don't.
Or just say, I don't know, the skeletons are being goofy. You don't have to explain it to them.
The skeletons are trying to be one big dog.
Right. Well, that one skeleton is eating the shit from the other skeleton, and then they're pooping that into the next skeleton's mouth. Also, skeletons don't do that. They don't digest food. So, you know.
They don't eat food.
Relax.
Because they're skeletons.
Relax.
You know? Yeah. People are like, meh.
Yeah.
I don't like fun. Fun makes my tummy hurt.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to think now. I feel like I really should get the Vaseline out and maybe make the rounds in the neighborhood. I don't know. I'm starting to get the itch to do some
context.
pranks.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I want to get the Vaseline.
You want to bust that Vaseline out?
Make the rounds around the neighborhood. I'm like,
I stick with my. I
don't like where this is going.
No, I stick with what I said. I'm a vigilante, Doug. I'm chaotic
Vigilante
neutral.
who wears crotchless pants.
That's right. Everyone's got to have
Vaseline
a uniform.
in my pockets.
I've got to. There's got to be an out. There's got to be.
I'm
a
like
uniform.
Napoleon Dynamite. Just got handfuls of Vaseline in my pockets. That's all I got. I pull it out and use it accordingly.
You'll never catch me.
They're like, dude, you got Vaseline in your pockets? You get caught by the cops. Do you have any weapons or anything that might hurt me? Nope. Like they go into your pockets like, what the fuck? It's Vaseline. Not going to hurt you.
How moist are your hands right now?
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You know what? Your knuckles won't crack tonight while you're
And
sleeping.
you turn and do a nice look to a non-existent camera and be like, that's GR living. And they're like, what?
And then I get charged for being clinically insane.
That's right. That's right. Let us know. What would you do to be a vigilante in your neighborhood? You know, playfully, nothing brutal. Just what fun thing would you do to annoy people that you think would be funny? Let us know in those comments. It'd be really good. All right. Well, let's move on from the Piss Bandit to an actual bandit who's been using AI songs in a bot army to scam Spotify for millions in royalties.
And I feel like you call him an actual bandit, but I feel like I'm going to be playing devil's advocate on this one.
Well, here's the thing. We'll talk through it, and I'm like, I'll listen to you as devil's advocate. Because part of me is also like, oh no, Spotify. You know, like
that's the first place my head went. Yes.
But so this guy named Michael Smith, he's been using, I think I heard about this on the Philip DeFranco show. Like he's been using AI to generate hundreds of thousands of songs that he then put on streaming services, such as Spotify. And then he would use an army of bots to quote unquote listen to the tracks, basically to generate listens, which would then generate royalties for him. And he's been indicted for what the FBI has called a brazen fraud scheme. He's been charged with wire fraud, and money laundering conspiracy. So, so the way that this worked was he partnered up with an AI music company and a producer to mass produce just a shitload of songs. He created a bunch of fake accounts so he could spread the music around. It wouldn't seem like one person was doing this. And like, wow, one person is making an awful lot of tracks, like super duper fast. And then he used the bots to list them at a rate around 660,000 streams per day.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Now, obviously in Spotify terms, it's like, congrats, you've earned a nickel, you know,
right?
But you know,
don't spend that all in one place now.
Right. So he figured out how to circumvent the fraud detection for a while. He created a randomized song and artist names that were convincing enough to provide an air of legitimacy. Garbage, total nonsense names like Calm Identity and Zygotic Wash Stance. I love it.
Again, I'm into zygotic wash stands.
Yeah. So there's a nonprofit group called Mechanical Licensing Collective which makes sure that artists receive their royalties from streaming services. They confronted him in 2023. They're like, this seems kind of odd. So they looked into the billions of streams, and he denied. He's like, I didn't do it. And now he faces up to 20 years in prison.
No, 20 years in prison for each of the charges.
That's right. See, I'm good at not finishing the sentences, you know?
Well, I'm just saying, like, that struck me. I had to read that twice when I originally read this article, because I was like, fuck, like, how many charges are being brought against him?
Yeah. So this guy,
wire fraud, conspiracy, wire fraud, and money laundering. So that's 60 years in prison. And the guy's 52.
Assuming there's one charge for each. If multiple.
True, too. Yeah, exactly.
So Justin, go ahead. Take your position here. Is this guy a Robin Hood?
I would. So we've established that I am not a fan of using AI to create art, to create songs, to create film, to create whatever. So I understand that. Like, that has been my position. That being said, Spotify dicks over their artists so much. Someone figured out a way. Now, was there? I think the big thing for me is there something in the Spotify clause in the contract or in the terms of use that states explicitly that you're not allowed to do this? Because if he figured out a way to game the system and they're angry about it, sorry. Like, you can put terminology in there now or put wording in there to stop this from happening in the future. But is there anything that explicitly calls out the fact that you can't do this? I'm assuming that because they're bringing these charges against him, that they do have some legs to stand on. But I would argue, if Spotify is Spotify making money off this? Like, did Spotify make money, and is this guy then making money? Because how is Spotify paying him that $10 million? It's not just coming out of their pockets, right? Are they charging? Is that like ads against? I mean,
it's got to come from some level of profits that they have, right? It does cost Spotify to do that, and I think.
But I feel like money in, money out, though, right? Like, they're not just gonna they got to pay. Like, the money that they use to pay their artists has to come from, like, they're recouping that somewhere for themselves.
Well, you got to think also, Spotify doesn't have unlimited money, right?
Sure.
So if someone is artificially creating demand for songs that aren't actually getting listened to, and then they're getting paid for that while there's actually good artists out there, like, I don't know, Potion Seller,
Right, but he's not taking away from listens from Potion Seller.
He's not, but he's generating income fraudulently, and Spotify doesn't have unlimited funds, so it's basically theft. I don't like Spotify. Let me get on the record. I don't like Spotify. Yeah. I think they pay their artists dog shit, and they're not upfront with how this stuff is calculated or whatever. Like, I don't like it in any way, shape, or form. I don't like someone being like, I'm going to create garbage art. To even call it art, I think, is being extremely generous, right? His intention was, I'm going to create a bunch of shit. I'm going to create a bunch of robots to, quote unquote, listen to this. It's going to drive up listens. And then therefore I'm going to get paid for doing so minimal, when you see artists on the same platform that are truly trying to create content to get people to listen to them. And I think it's a slap in the face to the Potion Sellers of the world, where this guy is just like farting out stuff and then getting paid for it. I'm like, listen, I don't like Spotify, but that's fucked up, And I think it's crazy that's happening.
I think, and I'm not taking a hard
playing devil's advocate.
I'm playing devil's advocate, but I would say that the argument to that would be that he's not taking away any listens from Potion Seller. He is manufacturing his own listens. So he's not taking any money out of Potion Seller's pocket. He's not pulling listens away from them, because all the listens that he's getting are from himself. He's programmed bots. So I would say, does Potion Seller want a bunch of bots listening to them, or do they want actual people consuming and listening to their stuff? So like, I would say, if he somehow created all this and he was an actual competitor for Potion Seller, like for the audience that's available, he was pulling views and listens away from them there. I would say absolutely that's not that's not right at all. You know, like that is quite literally taking money out of potion seller's pocket. But this guy is manufacturing his own listens. No, whether that's right or wrong, but I don't think. I think to me, he was isolating. Like, he's like, I'm just going to live in this bubble and I'm just going to make money grow in this bubble. I'm not, you guys can do whatever you want over here. I'm just going to take a little bit more from Spotify because fuck Spotify.
Yeah.
That's how
I hate taking the stance. But that sort of fraud only hurts everybody else, because then Spotify is paying out money towards something that is fraudulent, that didn't earn what it earned. And now that's less money that they have to go around and do other things. I don't think Spotify is going to do like, we could have used that money to have more jobs, because they just fucking fire people left and right. Or we could have given that as a bonus to all of the people of the artists. They're not going to do that. But it's like, cool. I don't know how much this guy made, but let's say it was
about $10 million.
$10 million. All right. So they paid out $10 million to someone who did not earn that $10 million. That $10 million could have gone to anything else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Could have gone to anything else.
Yeah.
And this guy isn't taking that $10 million and then reinvesting it into, discovering new artists or whatever. He's just fucking taking that money and putting it in his pocket, to be like, hey, I'm making the money. Hey, over here. It's like, nah, fuck that guy. Like, he doesn't have any altruistic, visions or anything like that.
Would it change your stance on this at all if he generated all this AI music, like thousands and thousands of songs of AI generated music, put it up there, and then let the natural, like organic listeners come in, and he got paid based off of that?
Absolutely. Because if people are like, I love this, I'm like, hey man, that's actual people listening to it. It's not manufactured, like I'm programming bots to quote unquote listen to this. And if people loved it, I'd be like, all right, I mean, hey, you found an audience, like
free market kind of thing. Like, you created it, people genuinely like it, so good for you.
Yeah, that makes that makes a difference, because real people are choosing to listen to it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm willing to bet there aren't many real people listening to those songs that he made.
Oh no, I don't think there's
zygotic delivery or whatever it is called. I don't think it's I don't think it's doing numbers. With
I
real
would.
people.
So now that I've played devil's advocate, my true feeling of this is fuck this guy, because making AI music is not actual making music. So he can go suck a bag of dicks. I don't care. I think this still, like, the overall crux of this comes down to the fact of, like, I don't think Spotify. I don't think there's a way for Spotify to stop it, like to identify what song has been made by AI. I don't think there's anything baked into the fucking music file that will tell you that. Maybe there is, I don't know. But I wish there was a way for AI or for Spotify to identify songs like that and kick them off the platform, like, and just not let them be uploaded to the platform, because that to me is more of a slap in the face to Potion Seller than anything else. Is this guy's creating? He's got no, presumably no musical talent, and he's creating thousands upon thousands of songs like that, and he's uploading them, to do whatever comes after that is just as shitty. But the fact that he's making these songs and uploading them, fuck you. Like, you're taking up space.
It's funny because I just guessed, was a guest spot on the You Haven't Heard This Music podcast with
did you really?
Richie.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah. And one of the games they play is this AI generated music, or is it a real submission?
Oh, I love it.
And it's tough. Sometimes,
it's tough.
man. It's tough. I think I got them all except one.
Okay.
But it's tough, man. It's tough trying to tell the difference. Some of them are pretty obvious. Some of them are not,
Right. For me, it's not some AI stuff may sound really good. Like, absolutely. It might be tough to distinguish between the two. I think for me, it's more on it's more on like a gut level of, like, just a morality level. Like, that's
the thing. I hate. I was like, I hate this game, just so you know, Richie, because this is the world we're living in right now.
Right.
Is this real, or is this AI? It's tough to tell what's what, and I hate it, because it just gets better or worse depending on how you look at it every single day. Right. And it's tough. So if I was Spotify, I'd do something like, hey, checking a box that said you're submitting this, acknowledging that this is not AI generated. And if it finds out that this is true, this will get pulled. Any funds or listens will be reset, and refunds will be you'll have to pay back whatever you get paid. So
yeah.
By checking this box and
fines,
acknowledging that you will be subject to any sort of disciplinary action. So
yeah. It is.
Yeah,
I mean,
fuck
look,
that.
it's fascinating because this is the world that we're moving into. Like this is going to happen more and more and more as this gets better and better, and it's going to get harder to fucking tell.
I want to amend a previous statement I made on here probably about a year ago about how I was like, I think this is kind of cool with AI. I like the idea of AI generated stuff on a casual, just non-commercial use. Like the idea of like, hey, I'm going to make something. I'll make a cool video just for me. And I want to use some AI generated music. Bada bing, boom. There we go. I'm not looking to make any money on this. I'm not looking to put this out to the world and be like, look at this piece of art I made. Because what I don't like is how people are like, I created digital art using AI generated text directions. And they're like, I want to copyright this. It's like, copyright what? What images that were created as something that scraped the entire internet without anyone's permission to then create this image, which is hilarious. I don't know if you heard this. There's a guy who I think people are copying his AI created work. And now he's like upset about that because, and people are like, the irony of all of this is that,
beautiful.
You can't do that. But to say that, like, I think intentions matter. If your intention is to use AI generated stuff to become commercially successful, I have a real problem with that. I think it can be used in moderation. Like Premiere Pro has an ability that allows you to extend a clip. If it ends at 20 seconds, you can extend it a few extra seconds, and AI will generate a little bit more for you. That's so that you can possibly make that cut or that transition a little bit better. Things like that, I think, are useful for a creator and things like that. But the idea of being like, here we go, I'm going to use this tool or this thing to make, I mean, I've seen people that are like, check out, I see it all the time on YouTube where they're like, check out all these cool characters that I've created using an AI video generator to create these characters from a video game that you all love. And I look at it, I'm like, this is terrible. I hate it. I hate everything about it. Someone made a movie trailer for some movie project they're working on. They just used AI and I hated everything about it. I was like, nope, we're not there yet. No, and some people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm like, it's really not. It's really not amazing. Again, if you're using it as a concept to like storyboard to get a vibe, like this is kind of what we're looking to do. Like if you were going to do like a spec for a commercial or something like that. And you're like, I'm going to use some AI generated tools to kind of give you an idea of like, hey, this is kind of what we're thinking, but we're not going to release it as is. This is just sort of like the idea of the visual, the concept and whatever. I think that's great. But the people that are like, I'm an artist and they're using AI to create all the stuff for them, I'm like, slow your roll. Like, you can generate something that I can't using that tool, but let's not pretend that you quote unquote made something.
Yeah, I can see to that end as an indie filmmaker, or if you're going and doing so. Like we just shot a spec commercial for Malort, and we're hoping to get it in front of them and hoping that they're going to like it, and it can lead to some other stuff. But when you shoot anything, when you write something on spec, when you shoot something on spec, anything on spec, you're not getting paid for it. It's speculative. You're hoping that it can lead to something else. So you're spending real money to do this thing that might lead nowhere. So if you can, in theory, if you could do something to kind of storyboard or get like a very quick proof of concept to say, hey, this is, here, we still wrote the idea, we still wrote the dialogue, we still wrote the whatever. You can put that in, and generate a quick little thing and say, here's the idea for the spec commercial. What do you think of this idea? So they can actually visualize it. Because a lot of the times people in those more corporate roles they lack the creative vision to see that you can tell them something. They're great with numbers and business and how to move the ball forward in that regard, but you can explain a concept to them, a more ethereal visual concept, and they might not get it. So if you can put something together where they can see it and say, yes, here's the budget, make that happen. And then you can go ahead and deliver that. That is a way that I could potentially seeing it being used as a tool. not to make the whole commercial, but to make that like the 15-second proof of concept to show them the tone, the style. Here's the gag that we're thinking about doing. Here's, this is what it will look like, generally speaking, and get them at least interested in the project. I could see that potentially being a way that I could get on board with it being used in that industry.
Nice. I like it.
I don't know. We'll see.
There you go.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Let us know. What do you think? Is this guy creating AI generated music and getting bots to listen to it? Is he a bandit? Is he an asshole? Is he a hero? Let us know down in those comments what you think. And then we'll fucking talk about it.
Okay?
All right. Let's move on to a game. Justin, what are we doing?
Well, Doug, we've got another. Wait, where's my sample set? No, hold on. Okay. I don't remember what I used for this, but it's another 3 and 6.
Finish him!
That's just going to be the thing.
There
now.
we go. That's your vigilante name.
That's
as
my
he has his
vigilante.
pockets full of Vaseline, running around in assless chaps.
Pee on me, daddy!
And I just go,
Get over here!
and then
People are like, oh my God.
I can't because I'm so slippery.
I'm gonna come.
There it is. All right. So this is 3 and 6, or a quarter dozen and a half dozen, as Doug likes to call it, where Doug has 6 seconds to name.
I'm done.
I'll give Doug a category to name 3 things that have to do with that category. He's got 6 seconds in which to guess those things. When I finish speaking, time starts. There's no clarification, so you got to take the question. If it's confusing, you got to take it however you want to take it and just roll with it. And Doug, as I said, each time we play this, I'm going to have a different countdown counter to try to throw you off. So you got a brand new 6-second countdown counter that will time box you for this. So are you ready to play, Doug?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Here we go. Douglas Cochran. Cool. Douglas Cochran, name 3 types of coffee drinks.
Latte, iced coffee, and a frappuccino. Yeah, there we go.
All right, I'll give that to you. You got that
Hey,
one.
I don't know much about coffee.
Wait. Well done.
There's the straight beans, and then you cook them and grind them.
I was expecting you to go hot coffee, cold coffee, and
I kind of did.
yeah. Well, you got the cold in there, but you got the frappuccino and the latte, which I was very impressed at. Yeah.
Yeah. I just said
well
words.
done,
I'm like, I think these are coffee words. I don't know.
No, you're absolutely
Venti.
correct. That's a size. I would have, which is a type of coffee drink. I would have accepted Americano, espresso, a cordato, an affogato, a red
A fugazi.
a fugazi, an Irish coffee, Doug. Anything would have worked, but you got it. So we don't have to worry about it now. Okay.
Cayenne's a city coffee. You accept that one?
Doug, name. You're 1 for 1. Here we go. Name 3 words that start with the letter P.
Penis, pussy, pomegranate,
Of course.
pregnant.
Here's the thing. When I put that down, I was like, I know exactly what the first 2 words Doug's going to go to, and I
want to win this goddamn game.
You did it, so you now are 2 for 2. Well done.
Yeah.
All right, Doug,
And those
here,
are the 3. I mean, top 3 in my opinion. You know,
It was penis, pussy, and what was the third one?
Pomegranate.
that
Top 3
that
Ps.
tracks. Yep,
Yeah.
that tracks. Here we go, Doug. For all the marbles, if you can go flawless victory today. Actually, I'll get that other one queued up. Here we go. Name 3 movies directed by Steven Spielberg.
E.T., Jaws, and Minority Report. What?
Was Minority Report?
Pretty sure that was him. As I wait with bated breath.
Flawless victory.
Yeah! Overturn the judge. That's what I'm talking about. Woo!
Well
Woo!
done.
I was like, oh my God, have I lied to myself this whole time?
I truly did not remember he fucking directed that. That is director.
For the record, that crying sound, just awful. Just
Oh, I know.
awful.
I was hoping that was really going to throw you off.
That was just the worst, man. I'm sitting there being like,
Well, Doug.
I think that's the first time I got all 3.
I think you're right. Yeah, that
That's
was
right.
very well done. Very well done.
Let's give it up.
That's a celebration sound.
Let's go. That was fun. Thank you for putting that together, man. I love a little bit of stress. You know, we started out with a great energetic icebreaker. We end with an energetic game. That's how we do it. We bookend this shit, y'all. We bookend this shit. Justin, what do you got to recommend this week?
Doug, there's a show on Netflix. It's a rom-com. It's a series. Season 1 just finished and did so well that Netflix immediately said, you know what? You're getting a season 2. They re-signed it. It's called Nobody Wants This. And I would strongly suggest it's really well written. So an agnostic sex podcaster and a newly single rabbi fall in love, discovering if the relationship survive their wildly different lives and meddling families. Really, really funny stuff. Kristen Bell and Adam Brody are the two leads. And then it's full of people who you're like, oh, yeah, I know that person. So I'm not going to even bother to say their names, but you'll know those people. It's a really well-written show and genuinely funny, and it's sweet at times too. So I would say if you're looking for a fun rom-com that definitely has a little bit of like inappropriate humor, some teeth to it, which is kind of fun. Nobody Wants This on Netflix. Season 1 is out there right now, so go check it out.
I trust you, but nothing says no way for me than rom-com. I'm like, cool, I'm out.
Will you watch a comedy, like a straight comedy?
You know what? It's hard to get me to sit down and watch a comedy. I don't know what it is. Like I find them like I'm just averse to them because I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm sitting down for like an hour and a half, hoping that this is going to make me laugh. What if it doesn't? You know what I mean? Like
it's interesting.
That feels like a greater risk than just like a standard drama to me. I don't know what it is. I have no.
But you'll watch it. But you'll sit down and watch the stand-up special.
Yeah, if it's a comic that I know. Sometimes if it's a comic I don't, that's a huge risk. But if it's a comic I know,
so you won't give a new comic like a shot if you see like the trailer for like because like a Netflix they'll play the like the first 30 seconds or they'll play like some solid clip or like a 30
if I
second
don't know them,
really
I generally
good
don't. I don't listen.
Interesting.
To them. Yeah, I was like I feel like I got to know who they are first. Otherwise, I'm like, what am I walking into? What kind of humor are they doing? You know what I mean?
Interesting.
I'm a weirdo. I understand that. You know?
No, that's it. It's just interesting that comedy. You're such a fan of comedy, but you won't sit there and actually commit to.
I'd rather give them a shot on the podcast. Be like, show me what you got. You know?
Okay, fair enough. Well, look, this recommendation might not be for Doug, but I full-throated recommendation for anyone else who's interested.
Your recommendations are solid for me, so it's going to be on my radar. So probably won't watch it, but I might. We'll see.
You know what? And
I got I've been so deep in my recommendation, which is Dungeon Crawler Carl series.
I love it.
I just finished book 5. Holy fuck. Holy shit. That one was so goddamn good. And the implications at the end of that book, I'm like, oh no. Okie dokie. I started book 6, which is the last one that's out right now. I think the 7th book is supposed to be finished by the end of this year. And then Jeff Hayes is going to do the voice recording for it, and then it should probably be out, I think, early next year, hopefully. And so
are they going to
get into book
7? Is the author going to
continue
continue going with this?
Supposedly there's going to be at least 10.
Jesus.
So typically the way that this works is I've talked about this before, but Dungeon Crawler Carl is about, a guy named Carl and his cat Donut who it's the apocalypse on Earth. They get sucked into this dungeon, which basically is a giant game show for the universe. And they have to try and survive an actual dungeon where they can die, but they also get skills, they get items, they level up. And there's 18 floors to the dungeon. They start on floor 1 and they keep going down. And the last book that I was just on, the book that I'm on now, it's floor 8. On book 6, they're on floor 8. So, and the lower they go, the more shit that happens. So it gets really, and it's so well written that like the author, Matt Dinneman, will like tell you something in the first book that has repercussions like 8 books down the line.
Love that.
Like one of the first things that happens in the dungeon is Carl's cat, Donut, becomes sentient and talks to him and becomes like a caster and casts spells and shit like that. She finds a tiara and she's like a show cat. And so she loves looking fancy. She immediately puts on the tiara without reading the description of what it is, which is a big no-no. In the dungeon, you always need to read. She put it on. It's like, great. This is It's the tiara of the sepsis whore. And this basically puts you in line for this particular faction. And in order for you to get past the 9th floor, you have to murder anyone else in line of succession for that faction before you can continue down on to the 10th floor.
Christ.
At the time, she's like, I don't know what that means. They're on floor 8 now. They're getting really close to that. And now they're like, oh my God, we have to deal with the ramifications of what you did on the first floor. And there's tons of that sort of shit where they're like, he's just laying the groundwork for amazing stuff. It's such a great book series, and I highly recommend the audio format of it. Jeff Hayes does such a great job telling the story, doing amazing voices. And it's funny, it's exciting, it's nerdy. But if you're like, I don't know, Doug, I'm not really into that stuff. I know multiple people who are not nerds, who do not play video games, who fucking love this, who have pre-ordered the next one.
Okay,
so
there you go.
Highly recommend it. Dungeon Crawler Carl series. It's fantastic. I haven't watched anything because I've been too busy listening to these goddamn books instead of watching
That's really
anything.
cool,
so
though.
it's been really, really fun. So I can't recommend it enough. So check that out.
Very
you
good.
fucking nerds. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We appreciate you as always. Please check us out at youtube.com/mindgappodcast. And then while you're there, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about things and train that algorithm. Be like, hey, these guys are worth listening to. And check the description for links to our Discord, for links to Redbubble, where you can get our merch, and our Patreon. And be sure to follow us on all our social medias at Mind Gap Podcast, and check out Justin online as well.
On Instagram at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, anywhere where you can consume the audio version of a podcast, guess what? You're going to find us there. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, review, share, all the things that we always ask you to do. The big one is sharing, though. Do let people know that we exist. Just take it and send it to one person that you know. And just be like, hey, I like this podcast. I think you might too. Make us your weekly recommendation. Just to one person. We really appreciate it. Thank you in advance. TwoEastEighth.com. To State on all social media, loveitimprovfilm.com, loveitimprovfilm on Instagram. And that's that. What a baseball.
And that's that. So with that, I'll say, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Listeners, viewers, thank you. And you all have a dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.